Okay, hi, and welcome to Moral High Ground. We're going to talk about what's morally right. This podcast is on Spotify and a whole bunch of other places, uh, radio cast or public. Anyway, just check it out. And I'm on YouTube here, of course. So today I'm talking about having your back. Okay, we gotta have each other's backs. We gotta talk about true freaking friendship where people got your back, they're there for you. You can get help whenever you need it. Being there when no one else is gonna be there for you. Okay, we got too many fake friends going around and too much nonsense with these fake friends. You know, I'm talking about people who say they got your back, but when something go down, they gone. You know, and this might seem like some stupid little topic that I'm just saying. It might sound like, oh, this is some childish stuff, but no. This is the basis of why betrayal is such a big thing right now. Why so many people hate each other. Sorry. Why so many people hate each other, and they're just like, don't trust nobody. It's because the people you've been around that didn't have your back, wasn't there for you, didn't want to understand you or listen to you. And so what I'm saying is, you gotta be selective on who you pick as a friend. We're talking about if you are behind on some money, they got a little bit of money, they can help you out. And then you can return the favor by giving them the money back or making some kind of arrangement to show your appreciation. These type of things need to be more addressed. We're talking about a friend if they say, I'm going to borrow something, they bring it back and don't try to keep it for themselves. You know, but most importantly, we're talking about if you out there and you're dealing with people and they sitting there and they're not like, oh, you're cool, and then someone comes up and they're trying to kick their ass. You're like, oh shit, I'm there for you, man. Come on, you trying to fight me too? That type of thing. You got that dude's back, or does that dude got your back when something go down? Or even with females, do this girl trust you? The way you trust her? Do you have her back? Ultimately, in relationships, you gotta have each other's back. But these little understanding the game of how relationships go, I have to say game because girls play a lot of test type games to try to get a dude, and vice versa. But if you ain't, equipped with that, or you ain't even in the mood to do all that, you just like, hey, talk to me, let's get this done. Then that's the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be this whole figure me out, or what's the puzzle, what's the clue, and you want a detective mystery like Scooby Doo or something. You're supposed to sit there and be like, hey, what can I do to help you? If there's a girl you like, and she just needs some money, or she needs like some kind of emotional help, someone just to listen to her, then do it. Have that girl's back. I don't care if she's your girlfriend or not. And I mean that goes both ways. It could be a girl who has a friend that's another girl, or a guy that's dating a girl, or a girl that's just, your buddy, your social partner. You should have her back. Something with the kids or something, hey, we're out of butter because dude didn't give me no money. He'll buy him some butter to give him to him and let the kids get fed by the girl, whatever. Having their back nonstop. This is the thing. Okay? It could happen. It should happen. Another thing that comes with this is not leaving someone behind. You don't want to, be out there talking about, oh, this is my buddy. We go to war together. But when the war pops up, you don't left that dude behind and go run and get away from whoever it is you think is a threat. And you're going to leave that person there standing to fight that person alone. They end up dead. Then what? So it's like you gotta have someone's back when any kind of violence happens, any kind of thing occurs. I don't give a damn if it's a house fire. It's a house fire. Make sure somehow, some way, you work your way back in that house to save that individual that was your friend or your lover or whatever. We have too much time nowadays on our plate, too much free time, and no one's sitting there saying, "Hey, this isn't right. I gotta be there. I gotta know what's going on. I gotta help my friend." You know what I'm saying? This is a person that thinks like that is a good friend. It's hard to find, but most people relate on the most ridiculous things. I think the main issue that takes away that trust, that value, that whole thing when it comes to a friend is the drug scene. And the drug scene is bad. You know, they're more worried about getting high than trying to be supportive or to survive. And this is the craziest thing about it. It's the people are supporting so many drug users, and now you got musicians doing the same thing. But what comes down to it is who's going to be there for you when you're down like that? Who's going to be there telling you what's right? They're not going to stick around while you're on drugs and trying to enjoy yourself. You like that feeling, because that's a false feeling of victory, a false happiness. You got to understand, if we're talking God and the devil, God giving you happiness or bliss like the girl you always wanted, or in the girl's case, the guy they always wanted, or something that they always desired and they got it, plus the other thing they always desired. I mean, if you had three things line up perfectly that you wanted and you feel super happy, and excited and things, then, that's pure happiness. That's the happiness of God. But when you have things where everything is wrong and you take a substance and it makes you feel joy and happiness and all this crap, but yet everything is going to hell around you, then that's demonic happiness. It's a fake happiness that comes directly from the pits of hell. And if you're enjoying that, then there's something wrong with you. Here's the thing where, okay, maybe you needed that little piece of hell for a minute, but now you're back to normal. Well, what's wrong with that is everyone else has already been judging you the whole time you was on that bit of hell, that little plot of land, and they don't want to get you out of it. They need something to talk about and gossip about. And with that one being said, gossiping is the worst way to keep a relationship going. If you got someone that's steady gossiping about other people, if you tell this person something and they can't keep it to themselves and they talk to the next person that knows you and say, hey, this person did this, and every time you try to get personal with this person, they're telling your business, and that's not a good person at all, not a good friend, a good ally. That's a person to get rid of, because ultimately something will go down and they're going to talk about it like, haha, look what he did or she did, without sitting there saying, okay, well, they did this, we need to help them. If they don't say that, then you're your enemy. They're your face funky enemy sitting there sucking up your energy and your environment and just want to be a part of something so they have something to talk about. That type of individual will never have your back, and that person will never be there for you when you need them. We're talking about support. And in some cases, families can't even do this. We're talking about brotherhood amongst men, sisterhood amongst women. I think the sisterhood thing has been blown out and threw around in the mud and just straight up, just like, I gotta explain this, made a joke of. It's been made a joke of. It's been humiliated. And the reason why it's made a joke of is you got reality shows like Basketball Wives and all this. And what they do is they sit there, they say, oh, this is a sisterhood. And we're in a sisterhood. And we got to look out for each other. But all they do is fight, throw drinks at each other, scream all kinds of crazy obscenities and stuff, and just make you think that, oh, this is how sisterhood's supposed to be. But no, it's not. Sisterhood is supposed to be a support. Women like supporting each other when their men go wrong, or they can't figure a way to make their kids happy together, or something of that nature. And I'm not saying it as a way to be a male chauvinist or whatever, but I'm just saying, that love bond between women and their children and whatnot, then might be a more peaceful place. Because if you think about it, women are mothers, our first idea of how to understand women. And if the women are always mad, hungry, yelling at the kids, fighting with a dude, then the kids ain't learning nothing. They're just learning how to be negative like the mother. And so sisterhood thing has to have a thing where you have your back no matter what. Like you're always there, ready to help out your own girl. And like I said, it's a family thing. Families don't know how to support each other that way. There's some that the brothers and sisters will be bonded, and they will go around mess with anybody that messes with their family. Will say anything they can. Hey, get away from my sister or get away from my brother. Able to know when someone's trying to take advantage of the other one. Women would know if another woman was taking advantage of their brother. So a brother got to know when a guy's trying to take advantage of their sister. They should be able to support them and have their back. That's the problem. People don't know that no more. And a family bond ain't like that for a lot of people. For good people, yes, or it ain't even about good or bad. It's about parenting, and that's a lesson that has to be taught. I think. I think if what people are serious about having children, serious about understanding how to take care of their children, they will find a way to make a class or a course or some kind of group to teach people how to parent properly. Now, that might not happen in this lifetime or anytime soon, but it would be a great thing to be able to make that happen to where people can parent their kids properly and the kids will actually benefit and learn and grow and feel more comfortable um, as a person. And they don't look back and be like the rest of us out here to say, oh, I remember when I was 8 and my dad slapped my mom or something crazy like that. It has to be boundaries and what adults do, the kids shouldn't know about. And there has to be boundaries where a kid can stay in a kid's place, meaning that they understand kid things and mostly kid things and are able to learn things naturally as a child, not be forced down a bunch of information or forced into um, negative thoughts about things and just confuse the kid with when all they're trying to do is learn the world. They just got into the world. You might have been in the world for a long time, but you haven't sat back and realized that a kid needs, when they first get here, need to know the basics, how to read, how to talk, how to do proper etiquette. These things that make their lives a little bit easier when it comes to things, but not tell them, oh, you're born of a different gender or, all this woke crap and all this other nonsense that we know that's in the world today. They need to know about their survival, how to live, and how to be able to face anything, you know, in the future with the weapons of knowledge to be able to survive and be able to conquer whatever it is that's in front of them. Ultimately, the bond, the having the back of a child should be a number one goal. So it's like parents are the ultimate people that need to have their children's back. Okay, it's just the thing. It's more important than a friend or a lover. If you have a kid, you have to have that kid's back. The kid has to be supported, and once you do that, once you show that love, the kid's automatically gonna have that your back. I've seen it a billion times. You want to fight the dude that's messing with your mom, or vice versa. Kids want to protect their dad, whatever. So you just got to show that love and get over the hump of all this crap, and come down to a level where you used to remember when you didn't know shit and try to teach it with the best way you can to make your child's life better. And that's just my opinion. And I'm not a master's degree on parenting or childhood, but trust me, a kid that's more loved will show more of a need to want to have the back of the parent. And that's the truth. And it will inspire them. So, like, uh, having favoritism amongst the children ain't a good thing either. So don't have your favorites. Just look at them as they all your favorites, because each child was a blessing that came upon you, because most people cannot give birth at all. So there's a reason why you had that child. So you need to think of that. And it's just my opinion. But parents need to have backs of kids, and kids will automatically have backs of your children, or the mother, or whatever. It's a automatic 1-1, a win, and done. Done and done. But anyway, so This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having the backs of people and understanding and trying to relate with the people so you don't break those bonds. You don't break that boundaries and you're able to always protect the people you care for and be on their side. Now, you want to do it to the point where you do have that long term good friendship. That's your brother, that's your sister, that's whatever, but at the same time, you're willing to give your life for them because of your love for them or how you protect them or feel about them. That's a strong thing, it's a good bond. Some things might not make sense, and a lot of it doesn't because it don't matter what rule or what idea they come up with, there's always something they left out that will contradict the new law or something, new rules, and it doesn't make sense. Like, and then if you talk about it publicly, people are like, oh, you're wrong, that doesn't make any sense. But if you sit back and actually think about what it is you're talking about, you have to say certain things. There's certain things that has to be said to fix the thing that was questionable to begin with. And that's just my opinion because there's a lot of stuff that's said and done out there that's questionable. And so the reason why I'm saying this stuff is because you'll have a friend that will believe one thing when another one doesn't, but yet they're able to communicate as friends and be able to socialize together, somehow. You might have a friend that's a Republican and another one's a Democrat, and all they talk about is either Republican or Democrat, but for some reason they can sit down at a table, eat, hang out in a party, barbecue, drink, and eat sausages or, macaroni and cheese, whatever. They're able to do that, but yet they'll argue every other time and still might have each other's backs. But until the end of where they get tired of each other and they don't want to do it no more. So even if you have a friend that believes in something strongly and you don't, instead of trying to argue or separating a friendship, try to be a little understanding without having no form of judgment or being critical or thinking your way is the right way. Sit there, have patience, listen to what you have to listen to, and then tell yourself, well, ain't no point in telling this person something. Might as well just let it go. Let them believe what they want to believe. I've done it multiple times. I even did it this past week. Someone was stating their opinion. You guys would call it a woke opinion. And I was very straightforward about how I felt about it. I don't believe that. That's ridiculous. It's a made up thought. I'm not going to agree with people's delusions. Okay, if you want to believe something that never been done in history before and make it fact, even when it sounds like an imaginary thing of someone coming from shoots and ladders land or freaking, one of them grim fairy tales that don't make sense at all, well, then go ahead. Believe what you want to believe. Me, I'm going to sit here on Earth in reality and try to figure out what the hell is wrong with this joint, who brought the funk, and how do I get rid of it. Okay, and that's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and fake a reality that's not real. And I'm not going to sit there and try to be judgmental about something that never existed before in history at all. Never was a thing that was a problem with humanity at all before the 21st century. I'm not going to sit back and believe something is a certain way because the public and the media tells me to. Like ultimately, we wouldn't have this great divide with races if the media didn't keep it going. The media steady says, oh, it's black person, people of color, this and that. And then when something's done, to me it's weird because, and I'm just saying this, to me it's weird because the white culture and media tells you it's racist. When in all reality, only people that truly knows what's racist is the people of color. Is the black people, is the Asian people. They're the ones every day got to wake up and look and go, oh, I'm different than the rest of the country because the rest of the country is Caucasian. And they mostly think about, white people this and white people that. There's a difference, okay? Being mistreated is something that happens to everybody. but it's not the same as racism. Feeling mistreated or pushed aside or whatever, it's similar in certain ways. But anybody can be mistreated. You can be mistreated for one day. That's not the same as racism, where you wake up every day and people look at you because of your skin color or whatever and automatically judge you when you walk into a room. You can be standing somewhere in the business and they think you're stealing something or some crap. Hell, I went through it the other day and all I was trying to do was buy laundry soap and fucking bath soap. And hey, they're looking at me like, oh, you give me your backpack for what? All my art supplies and stuff is in there, but I gotta be stealing something. Well, I wasn't gonna take the damn thing off. This motherfucker weighs like 50 pounds for regular people, but I try to weigh myself down with heavier weights. It's actually a form of workout without knowing you're working out. But I was just like, what the hell? I looked at it and said, hey, yeah, I'm buying this stuff, grabbing the stuff, I'm buying it, and I'm going to work. I'm not giving you my backpack. And a woman creature person was like, a woman creature person was like, hey, you need to do not follow me. I'm not following you because you look crazy. And you just freaking judged me based off my skin color and automatically thought I'm trying to steal something when I have like $150 in my pocket. So whatever. It's just the way it doesn't make any sense. But you can't build a bond with people who has unconscious bias that's already there. My point is that when it comes to this whole race thing, if you have a family of black people, for example, and one member gets, it's not like a white thing where you got multiple people whose race is, and then there's maybe three or four uh, kids in the family that don't believe what their parents and the rest of the family believe, so they're not racist, you know, or maybe there's like one racist person in the family and the rest aren't. It isn't like that. It's like every person in the household of a family that's either black, Mexican, or Asian, or Indian, or whatever you want to say, Arabian, whatever. All of them are dealing with racism, all at individual times, in individual different ways, and sometimes in similar ways within the same days and same weeks. And so when they come out and they interact with people that's white, Caucasian, they have to put up with this nonsense that they done heard a billion times every day, pretty much. Sometimes bite your lip because you say, okay, this person ain't really that bad. They just, need to be around people. And the funny thing about it is they make it seem like they own everything. Like you own this music, you own that. But all the music was created by black or Mexican or something, But yet you get treated like a second class citizen when all reality, in a way, they're the dumbest of citizens because they fall for anything. If they can fall for these new ridiculous belief systems, then you know what I'm saying? What else won't they believe in that could be harmful for all of humanity? And that needs to be thought of. But my point is, you can have a whole family full of people that dealt with racism and they have one color. They're not Caucasian though, and they all will deal with different ways. And black and white people will be like, oh, they think we're all racist. And here's the thing that's funny too, is when a black person deals with race, you know, they be like, okay. Sometimes someone will say something triggering, and it'd be like, hey, buddy. And next thing you know, they hit them with a pipe and call them N words and stuff. And so when they meet another person, these are trigger words I'm talking about now. When they meet a white person, and then they'll come up and say, hey, buddy. Well, that person will automatically relive the time someone said, hey, buddy, hit him with a pipe and then call him the N word. These are things that happen. So a normal person on a regular day basis that's Caucasian will say anything and not realize that it was a trigger word because they dealt the racist, or should I say the black person or whatever dealt with a racist who said, hey, buddy, first before they did something negative. And this happens because there's multiple different, there's not just one form of how to be racist. There's multiple forms, and there's actually at least 4 to 5 different personalities a Caucasian will give you when they are racist. And this is something I have seen over years and decades. But people just look at it like, oh, it's the person that runs up and just says the N word and they do racist stuff like that. No, it's not. You got the ones that act nice as hell, like, hey, how you doing? Real sweet, like they're your friend. But then they're saying crazy crap out the side of their mouth. And you're like, what the hell? You know? And I know I was talking about having your back, but the point I'm trying to get to, and I'll just cut the race stuff out right now, but I have to talk about it because it's not what the media tells you, and they're the wrong ones to tell you what race is about when they're all white people in suits sitting at a desk somewhere in a business office. They're not walking the streets every day, hang out with, try to be interracial and date someone and then go out and they're like, oh, what are you doing with that girl? Or some crap like that, you know, or the black girls are like, oh, why is he messing with a white girl? Or why is she messing with a white dude? You know, we wouldn't have none of this if we were living in a period of time that they're trying to say we live in, post Martin Luther King, where we're supposed to all walk together in groups and stuff. It will never happen. Not that dream that Martin Luther King wanted. Not in the way that he wanted, because the way he wanted doesn't exist anymore. It's the way the wealthy populace media wants you to believe that race, equal race should be, not what Martin Luther King wanted. Because there's still places, restaurants that are made by one culture, and like for instance, it'll be a white restaurant franchise, black person walking in, there's a problem. You know, unless that black person is truly from Africa, they get more respect than a regular black person here in the United States. And then you would have to think, if that's the case, then why in hell do they hate black people? We like African people from Africa better than American black people. And there's a hidden secret in there to why they're respected more than us. And I believe the hidden secret has to do with, just like all the Caucasians, you'll meet someone else say, I'm French, I'm Spanish, I'm German, and they're sweetening my dad's side of the family, and Irish on my great great grandmother's side of my mom's family. You know, they'll do all that. They'll name a whole shitload of Caucasian races and say they're that, but yet they hate you just for your one race. Doesn't make sense, right? Because really, if you think about it, Columbus said when he came here, he thought it was India. In India, you have multiple shades of brown. You got dark African type skin. You got skin that's a little bit of mix of both, like mine. It doesn't look, it's like dark, but yeah, I'm still kind of, light skinned to brown. And then you got the real light ones that come off as mixed people, or you got, lighter than that. They can almost pass for white. And so, if you think about that, if America was like India to him, that means there was some dark brothers over here and sisters, and most of them was Apache. Okay, and then you got the rest of them. That's all different tones and different skin. But if there was a bunch of slaves, I remember, I think it was, they said 2 million came over here on boats. Okay, even if that scenario happened, and they were getting oppressed the way they were talking about them getting oppressed and whipped, then obviously what happened was when they got away, they ran to people that looked similar to them, which would be those native tribes that were blackish looking. And they were able to breed and make babies, and to the point of, bam, here we are. And if you ever been with a native woman, and I'm not saying this about all native women, but some, they'll be able to breed a lot because they enjoy uh, sexual activity like most some women do, and they're able to make a lot of babies. And I can see how they had the whole country at one time. You know, so it's like Native Americans and Latina girls make a lot of babies and stuff because they believe in family system. You know, just Native girls had the family warriors, but either way, have someone's back when people throw negative racist stuff at them too. And my point is, never forget who and what you are. Never forget that if someone's going to be your friend, the ultimate way they can have your back if you're dealing with someone that's of another race is to be able to stand up for them when someone comes at them negative because of their skin color. When someone decides to say something bad or attack them, accuse them of something, follow them around, being negative and stuff, threatening them. If you're a friend of someone of another race, I don't care if they're black, Asian, Mexican, whatever the hell, if someone comes up, you should be able, I don't care if you're the same race as the person that's harassing another individual, you need to sit back and say, fuck this ain't right, and get up and walk away. Take that person with you that you care for. Hey, come on, let's go. Fuck this guy. You gotta explain that, understand that karma will get that individual back. But first of all, you gotta show that individual what they saying don't mean shit to you, your friend, or Jesus. And this is the truth. This is the bottom line of everything. The scenario, the great being. This is my new location. It's unidentified. But yes, you have to do this though. I'm not trying to get silly, but I was about to make it a little funny. Always take care of people you care for and make sure that they're okay. At the same time, if you're gonna look for friends, look for ones that you can rely on that's got value and willing to work with your life. So, like I said, I went a little far on the race stuff because I want people to understand because we have to find a way to break the hump. We got to do something. If we're worried about in the 21st century about people being accepted, being bullied, and all this stuff, then we have to get over the original one that this country chooses to ignore, and that's race equality stuff, equalness amongst cultures, and trying to understand one another. They got people that seem like they was stuck in a cave for billions of years and don't realize that other people, are now part of society, no matter what culture or belief system they come from. And so this is a thing that has to be addressed. So it's the ultimate having your back is if you're going to individually believe in something and work with people, then you need to individually protect the people you care for. And maybe that didn't make sense, and maybe it does, but I don't know. But I do know this. I know I'm telling it like it is. You know, yeah, you can worry about the transgender movement, the feminist movement. You can worry about all that stuff. But the thing about it is, it doesn't. You can't make those things equal for those people and not focus on the issue that's been there at hand longer. Those issues with race hasn't been abolished, hasn't been solved, okay, hasn't been resolved. It's just been there lingering. While the other people say, hey, we need acceptance, we need this and that because they got this. No, we didn't. We're missing a lot of stuff that should be addressed. Things that has to do with things that goes back hundreds and thousands of years that never get addressed, that never get resolved. And so I believe that there's a time coming where we're going to have to get all these things resolved before. It should have been addressed in ways where they knocked out one at a time. And it didn't matter when these groups all came, which is mostly the end of the 60s, where all these different uh, things came about. The hippie movement and all that made it possible. And, civil rights and stuff, but they didn't get resolved. You know, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King got assassinated. They were still protesting. They were still protesting the rights of freedom for the black folks. It never happened. Yes, there's liberties, there's laws and things, but there's ones that they got in there, loopholes. The 14th Amendment is the amendment to free the slaves. But if you go in there and read it, actually read it, like I have, you'll realize that it says that black people were not slaves and less incarceration. So when it says that, it's trying to tell you the more black people that are under incarceration are slaves. This is why it's an unfair advantage when you're in prison. It's an unfair advantage in society because cops are already trained to arrest you and bully you based off of your skin color, unconscious bias, freaking, you know, just sitting there racial profiling people, all that stuff. It's just the ways to try to get the slaves they need incarcerated to get numbers off of them and to keep them unjustly locked up when they ain't done nothing. You know, people like to say that, especially Caucasian persuasion, like to say that, oh, you're doing a crime because you did it. You know, they don't want to admit that these people are unfair and they will label you just to make sure they make money. Freaking prisons are a business. The jailhouse is a business. The judge in the court is a business. They're all profiting off of individuals. Isn't like Law and Order where you guilty, not guilty. No, they got ways of settling you out of court. You pay for your freedom so you don't have to go to jail. You know, you see that with celebrities. They won't do as much time as someone else that did that same crime because they're able to pay their way out of crime, pay their way out of prison or whatever. In some cases, depending on how popular an individual is or whatever, they will find a way to get that individual in jail, but still find a way to take all his assets so he won't be able to escape. This is messed up. Person worked their whole life for financial gain. One little bad, point in time, one little bad judgment, and that individual is incarcerated for life. Now, this is something too where the legal system pushes people down and bully them and keeps them in a way where they can't grow as a person and they don't get to rehabilitate back in life because life is too complex for them to understand. So my point is this, is that it's a whole different reality, a whole different world incarcerated. The bad thing about it is this. All those friends, all them lovers, all the family members, you don't exist no more. It's like you passed away. And that you're a lingering ghost, especially to women that probably had kids with a dude. They're a lingering ghost. Your dad, he'll be back one of these days, but you never see him. And then you have to think of a confusing concept that is, especially if a kid is little and you say your dad is gone, but then he comes back. So it's like, that's really messed up way of thinking. It's like being a ghost thing. But then the problem is that woman can either keep telling her that her dad's going to be around and be faithful and be loyal, but yet sometimes it's too long and they still have to go out there and do what they got to do to make money or find the way to keep themselves happy emotionally by finding that person that they want to be with. The thing is that's so odd about this is there should be no reason why you can't help someone that you supposedly were so close with and tight with when they're down. I don't care how much family members you got. If one of them can't reach out to you or multiples, then they truly never care for you, which means they never had your back to begin with. That's the biggest thing. Prison is the ultimate sign to show a dude or a woman who truly cares. Because if they're not contacting you or you call them, they block your number every time it comes, they don't care about you. And they're proving that every single time you down and they don't look out for you. Because what's the difference between being down inside the jail system and being down out in the public? It's called just being down. No matter if it's in or outside of the gates or whatever, but you gotta have someone's back. If you have a back outside of the streets, and you should have their back inside when they're incarcerated. And that's just my opinion. And this is something that I believe should happen and should be addressed. So That's just the ultimate and last thing I have to say about having someone's back. It's just like if they're in the hospital, people have managed health care. That's not right. And there's a whole bunch of stuff is going on. You throw your parents in there, they're dying or they got some kind of illness. Do you have their back? Are you there to make sure the medication is right? Are you there to make sure that they're getting the things they need? As family members coming in, make sure they're, got the clothes or whatever. If you don't have your people's back when they get older and they're in the hospital, then you've been a joke the whole time. And ultimately, I think this is where it goes back to the dating thing. If you can't have someone's back when you start dating them and you're young, and then they get old, and no one's there to take care of that person. And then when you was loving them and dating them, you never cared to begin with. You know, he was only there while they were young and they could be able to do stuff. Don't have the heart to come visit or say something, when they pass it on. So it's just a whole different concept that needs to be thought of. But the elderly people need someone to have their back too, especially if they've made 7 generations of people, just or whatever, you know, they should be honored and honored in the way of a creator. And when I mean creator, I mean the great divine, the great God of all should be respected. And with that being said, if you can respect what you believe, then respect the people you need and always have their back. With that being said, this has been Moral High Ground. And I like to say, peace be with you all. Blessings upon you always. Look up my stuff on Spotify as well as every other podcast place except for uh, Apple iTunes. And my other work that might be on Instagram or Pinterest or uh, Facebook, Rizzo. I'm all over the internet, y'all. Y'all just don't be paying attention. But check it out. And peace be with you, like I said. And always truly think about the people you care for. Peace out. Solid. Till next time.